Keir Starmer flew to the G7 summit hoping to project strength on the world stage. But back home, the cracks are already showing. Just hours after making bold claims about tackling illegal migration, his own government quietly admitted the truth, and it's far worse than he let on. Now the pressure is mounting, the numbers are rising, and the Prime Minister's credibility is on the line. Let's break it down, but first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Keir Starmer is facing renewed criticism after comments made at the G7 summit appeared to downplay the scale and urgency of Britain's migrant crisis, only for Downing Street to later admit the situation is, in fact, getting worse. While speaking to the press, the Prime Minister said he wants to see more cooperation in northern France, and confirmed he had raised the issue of channel crossings with French President Emmanuel Macron. Starmer claimed that tackling illegal migration was a priority and that he was committed to smashing the gangs involved in people smuggling. But just hours later, a Number 10 spokesperson confirmed that the channel crisis is deteriorating. The spokesman said, "Migration should be a key focus given the deteriorating situation in the channel, and that both sides should continue to work with partners to find innovative ways to tackle the issue." This admission stands in contrast to the message Starmer projected at the summit, suggesting more progress than the facts support. Since Starmer became Prime Minister in July 2024, small boat crossings have continued at pace. On March 26, just under 9 months into his premiership, it was confirmed that 30,000 people had crossed the English Channel during his time in office. That same day, total crossings for 2025 had already hit 6,100. Combined, nearly 40,000 migrants have crossed since Starmer took office. It has been reported that over 2,000 people made the journey in small boats in the last week alone. On the day of publication, it was reported that at least 250 more had already crossed. Starmer's government has faced repeated questions about whether they are doing enough. In particular, Labour came under fire after Treasury Minister Darren Jones, during an appearance on BBC Question Time, claimed that a majority of small boat migrants were women and children. His comment came in response to Reform UK Deputy Leader Zia Youssef, who challenged Labour's record on border enforcement. Jones responded by saying, "I went out on a border force boat, and what I saw were children, babies and women. This was interpreted by many, including Nigel Farage, as a broader claim about the migrant demographic." Farage posted a 10-second clip of the exchange, writing, "Labour's Darren Jones claims the majority of illegal migrants crossings at Dover are children, babies and women. This is simply not true." Another clueless Labour minister. In response to the backlash, Jones later clarified that he had been referring to a specific visit and not the overall data. He told the media, "It's been clipped by Reform in a particular way. If you look at the whole conversation, I wasn't referring to the whole number of people being a majority of women and babies. I was telling a story about a visit I had to the Border Security Command. However, recent Home Office statistics make the overall picture clear. Of the 36,816 people who arrived by small boat in 2024, 73%, or 26,999, were adult males. This figure directly contradicts any impression that women and children make up the majority of those arriving. The government's official position remains that people smuggling gangs are the core problem, and that efforts are underway to dismantle their operations. A Home Office spokesperson said, "We all want to end dangerous small boat crossings, which threaten lives and undermine our border security. The people smuggling gangs do not care if the vulnerable people they exploit live or die, as long as they pay. That is why this government has put together a serious plan to take down these networks at every stage." The government cited enhanced enforcement in northern France, a new border security command, and legislation included in the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill as steps to address the problem. Still, with crossings continuing and the numbers mounting, critics argue that tough talk from Starmer must now be matched with visible and immediate action, especially as the government approaches its first full year in office. In other news, Nigel Farage's Doge unit has revealed that Kent taxpayers spent thousands of pounds paying for illegal migrants to have TV licenses and trips to the cinema. In a damning dossier compiled by Reform UK's Wastebuster Squad, Kent County Council spent at least £1,000 on footing the £174.50 bill for small boat arrivals to watch the BBC in 2022. Asylum seekers were also taken on trampolining, bowling, and cinema trips across the Garden of England. Overall costs, which included spending money at JD Sports and PC World, stood at £24,000. Kent has been at the forefront of the migrant crisis, with 16,000 asylum seekers completing the 21-mile journey in 2025 so far. Reform's Doge, Tsar Zia Yusuf, said, "For too long, British citizens have been prosecuted for not paying for a TV license, yet asylum seekers are having theirs paid for by taxpayers." The old Tory regime at Kent County Council has a lot to answer for. Reform will fight for taxpayers. Reform UK confirmed the spending just hours after Liberal Democrat MP Mike Martin accused Yusuf of leading a clown show over his claims. Taking to social media, the Kent MP said, "Kent County Council doesn't have an asylum budget, so it looks like you're talking nonsense." However, Reform's Doge unit whiz-kid Nathaniel Fried fired back against Martin. He wrote, "This is at best misleading from Mike Martin. There is clearly a budget and spend assigned to asylum seekers in Kent. There is a category of spending, 32V, for asylum residential. There is also 32Q, non-placement spend asylum, 18 plus, 32P, rented asylum 16 to 17. Money is spent and assigned to those service name and service type. It is mostly billed to the Children, Young People and Education Directorate regardless of the service name type." GB News also recently revealed how Kent County Council had been using taxpayers' cash to rent office space almost 200 miles away in Brussels. Reform UK won Kent County Council from the Tories in the 2025 local elections, picking up 57 out of 81 seats. Yusuf, who quit as Reform UK's chairman last week before returning to the fold 48 hours later, launched Reform's Doge unit at Kent's County Hall in Maidstone last week. Aaron Banks, one of the so-called bad boys of Brexit, will join Yusuf and Fried as an advisor to the Doge team. Yusuf has also met with council chiefs in West Northamptonshire, later pledging all Reform-run local authorities will face a major financial inspection. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.